let's come to today's session. And today's session is all about sustainability and compliance excellence, post-COVID business scalability. And it is indeed my pleasure to introduce our presenter for today. I would now like to introduce Dr. Karthik. Now, let me just quickly read about Dr. Karthik. Dr. Karthik has a very, very elaborate profile, and it is indeed my pleasure to do that. So, Dr. Karthik ND is a management consultant in Industry 4.0, organizational and people transformation with a special focus on business excellence, sustainability and quality, operational excellence, Lean Six Sigma, quality assurance, TQM, total quality management, social and environmental compliance, profitability, people development, and culture change to build world-class organizations. With over 20 plus years of experience in the apparel industry across tables, Dr. Karthik ND has his management consulting firm, Mindworks International, covering key clientele across Bangladesh and India. Prior to that, he was country managing director for Bangladesh and India for one of the leading testing, inspection, auditing certification body for more than a decade. Dr. Karthik also specializes in textile, analytical, chemical, RSL, ZDHC regulatory testing requirements for most global markets, footwear, leather and synthetic, PPE, wastewater, etc., product inspections, facility audits for social, environmental safety, people, and regulatory aspects. He has successfully handled various and productivity improvement projects in Bangladesh and India, resulting in reduced lead times, improved right first time, percentage and improved quality, cost optimization, and profitability improvements, along with enhanced product value, right? An avid reader, triathlete, and a humble being to develop, support, and inspire people, he works towards seeing the big picture of getting fit for future, delivering strategic value propositions with innovative and disruptive thought leadership. And today it is indeed our pleasure that we get to hear more from Dr. Karthik about his experience, his accumulated experience for over the years on what the industry has in store and what can be developed out of that. Dr. Karthik, it is indeed our pleasure to have you on board with us, and I welcome you to talk and to learn more from your experience.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Gagan, and thanks to Sotex and Mr. Sonal Jain specifically for this wonderful initiative. And every week, even I connect most of the sessions wherever, which part of the world I am, and it's a great learning opportunity, and it's a pleasure to connect with the industry as a whole and to share and learn. Actually, I would say this is more of a learning session rather than a knowledge sharing. Yeah, this is a knowledge session and where everybody learns, including me. Yes. So thanks a lot, and thanks for the wonderful introduction as well. And yeah, let's go into the session.
Absolutely. Please share. I believe you have a presentation and we are looking forward to that. And then I would also request all the audience that any questions you have or you come across during the presentation, there is a Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. You can post your questions in the Q&A box or post it on the chat, however you want to. And we will be taking these questions post the presentation of Dr. Karthik. So over to you, Dr. Karthik, for the presentation.
Of course. Thanks a lot. And yes, definitely we'll go into the session where I'm sharing the screen. And I would like to have this more of an interactive. Yes, definitely, as much as possible. As I said, this is a knowledge sharing session. And today's topic, which we are going to discuss on sustainability and compliance excellence and post-COVID business scalability. Here, my humble submission is I would like to show a kind of overall framework and highlights or a high-level overview, rather than going into the very nitty-gritties of this, because those will specifically address, and it will be a kind of each and every topic when we talk about both the terminologies, sustainability and compliance. Till today, in my knowledge, in my little whatever I am aware of working in this industry for all this, no one is able to define specifically what is sustainability or what is compliance, right? This is a huge topic. So that is exactly the reason. And again, if you look at the most important part, which is the second part of the topic, which is post-COVID business scalability. COVID has taught us so many things, right? And first of all, before formally getting into the session, my sincere prayers and the condolences for whoever has lost their lives or the loved ones, and the impact which has created in our day-to-day life, business, financials, and everything. So a big respect to everyone who has gone through this, and we are recovering. Still, we are getting new terminologies, and still current scenario is a little bit promising, and gives us the confidence to talk about post-COVID as a terminology. Still, we are at the end of COVID, not still fully over. But what is important? What is the most important lesson we learned in all these past 2 years of our life, industry and business, and in life as a whole? If you look at this, the only thing we have is this planet, and the only thing we abused is this planet, isn't it? I would like to have some kind of chat responses. If you agree, disagree, if you have any viewpoints to share once in a while. So what we did in these all these years is we completely abused Mother Earth. We failed to see the big picture. We utilized resources, consumed resources in whatever ways possible, only looking at profits and money, financials, and all those kind of things. Number game has become a major scenario, and that is exactly the reason I didn't want to go into the numbers in today's session. And I would like to keep this as an awareness as well as a framework, what are all available for us to still gear up to move forward. So, giving this agenda, I would like to connect the big picture of when we talk about compliance or sustainability, the most common responses we always get from manufacturers who are actually going through the most toughest time in business point of view. Why buyers are they keep on about compliance certifications. We have to go through a number of audits, which is creating audit fatigue, financial fatigues, and are the buyers willing to pay when more? How this compliance actually helps us for us to be sustainable in the business point of view, and all those kind of things. This I have been in one of the leading TAC industry, and I have faced all these questions in the past more than a decade. And when we look at this, there are solutions. Definitely, many TAC providers, that is testing, inspection, auditing service providers, have come up with solutions which are also providing another checklist, or which is more comprehensive, and all those kind of things. What is important for us is how we go beyond those checklists, how we surpass those minimum requirements and be proactive and be responsible for environment, Mother Earth, our future as a whole, and how we are going to scale it up, scale the business, not only scale business in terms of money, scale business in terms of life, in terms of society. And I believe most of you might have heard the terminology Industry 4.0, which talks about automation, which talks about big data, which talks about artificial intelligence and machine learning. So when we talk about these high-end tools, I was impressed to share one particular learning where one of the most reputed countries, one of the country which is known for quality. Yeah, you would have guessed it right, Japan. Japan's former prime minister announced something which is one step ahead, called as Society 5.0, which means whatever we are going to do, whatever in terms of use of technology, deployment of automation, and all those kind of things, if it is not going to benefit people, if it is not going to benefit society, if it is not going to benefit the planet, it's of no use. So whatever businesses, whatever processes we are following should definitely benefit the planet. And that is exactly the reason I would like to connect to these SDGs, which is Sustainable Development Goals. When we talk about the growth and development, definitely all needs to be sustainable, and it is a very inclusive kind of approach which will help us to be more sustainable in terms of life, business, financials, and with all people involved and benefited. So most of you might have seen, but still for the sake of a quick review, you can see these 17 sustainable goals, like in terms of no poverty, zero hunger, good health, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice, and strong institutions, partnership for the goals. If you look at this, and if we look at the key coverage of all the tools which we are currently using for compliance and sustainability measures are all related to this. And the first and foremost thing for manufacturers who are raising those questions, why brands are pushing us to be more compliant, why brands are pushing us to be more sustainable, if not for the sake of the manufacturer's own benefit, this is for a bigger picture of the planet, the bigger picture of the environment, and most of the global brands sourcing from any region, and especially South Asia, which is my favorite geography. I come from India. I spent a good amount of time in Bangladesh, where apparel production, textile and apparel production is huge, and it's growing year on year. And all of you would know Bangladesh is the second largest exporter of apparel in the world, next only to China. So with all these poverty, for example, one of the key elements which we are talking about in social compliance audit is minimum wages, right? So that minimum wages is definitely linked to the first goal of no poverty and zero hunger, good health and well-being, right? And so we can relate each and every tool which is in that say checklist or audit form, whatever we are talking about, all are related to sustainable development goals. And unless otherwise the world is sustainable, we as an individual won't be sustainable, the business won't be sustainable. So I would like all of us to look at that big picture and support each and every organization. There could be entrepreneurs, there could be employees, there can be different stakeholders, could be from brands, manufacturers, or including third party or PACA companies. So all I would like to support each and every aspect. How do we address these goals in our day-to-day life? Right, so including responsible consumption, the latest one being the sustainable fabrics or recycled material, talking about the responsible consumption, reuse, reduce, recycle, and all those kind of stuff. So this is where I would like to address this high-level picture, and then go into the impact on ecosystem which is creating in terms of water, energy, and food. In each and every aspect, be it water security and management, textile industry, next only to agriculture industry, is the highest consumption of water in each and every process. Again, I am not going to the numbers here, which are quite alarming. How much of water is being produced for every per kg of fabric or a garment, especially if you're talking about denims. So how we can reduce water consumption in our manufacturing process, how we are able to reduce the energy consumption. Obviously, food is a not into the industry as such, textiles supply chain, but it also, when we are depleting the resources of water and energy for our material production in terms of textiles, definitely this impacts food production as well, right? The energy security, the governance and investments. So all these aspects clearly says we need to look into a holistic scenario, and that is where I would definitely highlight the growing importance and awareness for everyone, especially for the brands. Most of the brands, they have started focusing on these 5 key elements or 5 pillars, we can say. The ethical sourcing. There are questions of, are the brands ethical fully? Yes, definitely they are ethical, because unless always there is a pressure, unless there is a framework that brands are putting in place, the manufacturers again trying to cut costs or trying to be sustainable in their own way only for their business, there could be issues. At the same time, yes, there could be areas of improvement in all other stakeholders as well. So how we start with is that value which is on top, that we want to be ethical in our sourcing. So that is there. And at the same time, when it comes to how can we be ethical, it's not only about the cost or the payments, where we talk about the processes being ethical, where we are not abusing the resources, and we talk about recycling materials. So when we talk about recycled materials, now the growing importance, I am in this industry, in this business currently, where the demand for recycled cotton, recycled polyester, recycled waste getting converted into new materials, or we call it as upcycling. So all these are definitely for being focused. And at the same time, are we not only abusing the resources in terms of water and energy and land? Not only that, is when we are abusing land, which is the agriculture or those agricultural land getting converted into industrial land, and factories are being made. I am seeing in Bangladesh, one way it gives happiness that industry is growing, but it also shows that there are impacts created on the environment and ecosystem, which directly or indirectly impacts animals. So that is where we call it as there are cruelty-free focus has come, where you might have seen some of the certifications we talk about. We are not harming animals in certain areas, but now even in the manufacturing of products, be textiles, and the best example, there are some chemicals or auxiliaries being used for which animal materials are being consumed. So those kind of chemicals are also being avoided, so that there is no impact on animals as well. And those brands focusing on this are now expecting certifications like vegan certifications. So we might have heard about vegan certification or vegan food industry, but it is also gaining importance in textile and apparel industry. And on the other hand, how the consumers can contribute, how they can contribute is, first of all, yes, buy less. When we say buy less, will it not impact business? Yes, it might impact business, but at the same time, it will help the environment, help the ecosystem. And how still have affordable fashion is by using recycling of the products. We call it as, again, in one way second hand, and it's not just a second hand. It can lead into multiple hands. It's not going to be only one time recycling materials on the environment, but the longevity, the number of the amount of time which will be on the land. It's not dumped, but the usability of these synthetic materials, recyclability of these synthetic materials, including polyester, sorts much higher compared to cotton, and definitely that helps in certain. So this awareness on clean, green, lean on brands, the manufacturers, the consumers, the three pillars are definitely increasing, and that is where so much of the framework on or higher or increasing. Be it if we talk about animal impact on the animals, or the food coloring which impacts the hazardous nature, the parabens or the grown in farms, and natural ingredients, non-usage of pesticides, how we can minimize in the industrial and machinery, and how it is done manner, or any other use of genetically modified materials, which definitely creates some kind of issues, and all other aspects, be it cruelty free, chemicals free, vegan products, nitrate free, all those things. The impact, the importance on awareness of how we can actually be sustainable or continuously increasing. So that is where brands are talking about 100% recycled fabrics, and many brands, be it H&M or Walmart or IKEA or anybody, or most of the global brands, including Inditex, they have declared in the next coming decades, in 1 to 2 decades, They have announced their products would be 90 somewhere between 80 to 95% coming from recycled sources or can be recycled. So that is the kind of vision they have taken, and they are adopting those measures whatever is possible. And when brands declare that these are all needed to support those SDGs, definitely this entire supply chain needs to entire supply chain needs to be compliant on all those aspects. So these are all the key high level aspects which we are focusing on. Why or what is the importance of being compliant? Why? What is the importance of being sustainable? And definitely, if you link all these factors into our recent learnings of the impact of COVID, which talk we where we learned we are. It's not about money. Life is not about just a high flamboyant lifestyle or whatever. We learned about the basics again. We learned how we can be more connected, how we can be considerate, compassionate to other people and the earth as a whole, right? So it's again we talk all about the basics of how we can focus on the materials not being abused, the resources not being abused, and how we can be more sustainable. So this is the focus here. And as I said, many companies are now focusing on vegan not impacting the animals as well. We never bothered about this. We never bothered about having a focus or a certification for apparel products, but now that is also increasing. So how we can achieve this sustainability? It starts from the core. It starts from planning, and most of you might have learned or heard about design thinking, where unless otherwise we develop a product or a process or a system as a framework from the beginning, we would not be able to achieve sustainability only by audits. Do you agree? It is sustainability and compliance is not achieved through audits. It is achieved through design of the systems, design of the frameworks and procedures, processes, right? So unless otherwise we focus how we can plan our operations, plan our businesses, plan our people's working methodology, we are not going to be sustainable. So these are all the key six elements of how are we going to recycle, be it, and it is not new. Sustainability is not a new terminology. Recyclability is also not a new terminology. We have been using these in our life for several many years, except for that we were not aware of the terminology, but we have been recycling stuff. We have been focusing on environment. Now there is a framework involved. There is a process involved. So that is where I personally felt I can contribute organizations who can focus on this designing their sustainability models for their business. It can be any organization. It can be a manufacturer of textile or an apparel. It can be cotton-based natural material or synthetics, or it can be a brand, it can be a store, it can be a buying agency, or it can be individuals, where everywhere how we can design the stuff, where that is the kind of essence I would be able to bring personally, and design the systems and procedures, SOPs towards a more sustainable use of all the 5 M's, like men, material, machine, methodology, and money. So all needs to be sustainable, and the focus is starting with the recyclability, how we can reuse the materials and processes, how we can focus, how we can ensure operational safety, health and wellness, ethical responsibility, and social impact. Similarly, functionality, how we can increase the life of the product. Someone asked me, oh, you are focusing on synthetics. So synthetics are harmful for the environment. And many of us might not know. It was quite interesting for me when I learned. When we talk about the plastic covers, the polythene covers, bags, which we are talking about, that is one of the major source of pollution, landfills, and which impacts or reduces the life of those products. Where the PET bottles or polythene bags were designed to last longer. It was designed to reuse. So the cotton material reusability is slightly less, whereas the polyester or polythene materials are higher. But what we did not use it properly. We did not know I can use a polythene bag for several years, whereas most of the materials became one-time use. So we ourselves invented something new, invested more on trying to get something, whereas we ourselves spoiled those usage, reduced the usage, and again we started suffering. So that is where the right understanding on service life and durability, how well we can maintain it, and how we can improve the functional effectiveness. Those kind of things are extremely important. And the manufacturing, it starts with transportation, packaging, storage, how we can have a sustainable model. Where, for example, when it comes to packaging, very recently I was discussing with a brand owner, Indian brand owner who's into sportswear, who never uses any polythene material. Definitely, it is a different view from him. The materials are polyester, but the packaging is fully cellulosic. And the beauty is you remove a small box, a packing, in which that sportswear comes into in a box. You remove the box, dip it in water, and put it in earth, and you get a new plant. So that is the kind of design for sustainability I'm talking about. It's not just a colorful slide. So these are all some of the best case examples. So I hope you are getting what I am trying to explain. A box where you are getting an apparel, where you can just dip it and put it in the land where the seeds are inside those packing. And tomorrow, after the shirt is being worn or for several times, still there will be a plant which become a tree, and it will always be there. So consciously or unconsciously, even if I'm going to throw it, there could be rain tomorrow and it will grow into a plant. So that is the kind of design I'm talking about. That is the kind of focus on sustainability, how we can focus on sustainability, each and everything. We are talking about wooden buttons. We are talking about those materials completely from nature. It can be a combo of certain things should be designed to last longer, where sometimes if it cannot be designed like that, the processes can be in such a way it can be completely sustainable, completely biodegradable, and kind of stuff. And the design for resource utilization and economy, the energy efficiency, power consumption, material utilization, and kind of stuff. The focus on energy. So as I said initially, water, energy, and food, these are all the key aspects. And then a design for environmental impact. So how this, whatever we are doing is impacting the environment, what kind of carbon footprint, what kind of those energy requirements, how we can continuously reduce the energy consumptions. Energy is not only electricity, it's about water, it's about steam, and including the mechanical energies, whatever we'll be using by people or machines in whatever ways. So it's a holistic approach. It starts with the design. Sustainability or compliance starts with definitely design. And this would save you millions and millions of, be it the rupees or taka, whatever we call it as, in the longer run. Whereas initial design process might become costly, but in the longer run, it will be safe, healthy, as well as sustainable. And that is where we talk about two key aspects, that is operational sustainability and corporate sustainability. So what is the difference? So in terms of operational sustainability, that is our day-to-day aspect, how we are going to address this in a more tactical or operational manner, that what we can do. And corporate sustainability focuses on high level policy oriented approach, where we will not be able to do much, but when we ensure in operational, when we ensure what, yes, these are all being done, corporate sustainability tells these are certified, yes, these are all audited, these are all verified by competent third party professionals qualified enough to do such audits, and then yes, we say yes, we are certified. So certification and execution both go hand in hand. Because sometimes I might know to do certain things, but including say as simple as driving. But if I am not having a license, there is always a question mark on my ability, right? So this is a license which ensures that yes, a person is qualified enough and assessed that he or she will be able to do certain things. The same goes to businesses, and that is where these certifications come into picture. And that is the impact of certification. If we don't have, if our businesses doesn't have certification, there is no authenticity that we are capable to do this, right? So hope you would agree on this. And this is the importance of certification, why we need to go, why the brands are pushing for it, why for ourselves we need to go for these certifications, right? So that is where when we talk about operational sustainability, we talk about products, processes, people, systems, facilities, assets, and environment. When we talk about products, yes, all the products which we are using on a day-to-day, with all the raw materials, all the chemicals which we might be using in our processes, and all the machinery, all products involved, fabrics, trims, the auxiliaries, chemicals for dyeing, right from each and every stage. Similarly, when we talk about processes, process sustainability is for both for process, I mean the product manufacturing, the people, as well as the facilities. So all three, the processes involved in all three elements. How people are sustainable, how they are not overworked. We are talking about all the elements of key audit requirements, something like BSCI or RAP, one kind of thing, where say overtime or minimum wages or non-bonded labor and all those kind of stuff. So the people, the systems. So what kind of systems? I'm not talking only about the computers, but overall operational systems and procedures. The facilities where the manufacturing is being done, the factories per se, or the workplaces per se, and various other assets. It can be the physical assets, intellectual assets, financials, and everything involved. And more importantly, environment. So how we are utilizing, how we are treating the effluents in all forms, like be it water, gas, and solid dumping, and all those kind of things. So all these operational sustainability has various tools, and it is quite exhaustive. This could go say probably for a week or so if we go in depth. And so that's the reason I am touching on the most important thing in quality certification. Anyone can guess what's the most important aspect in corporate sustainability? And when we use organizations which are third party with or independent organizations, the most important term or element here is trust. So when an organization is certified, when the organization is or declare themselves, we are, so that trust comes from commitment. So yes, I am going to do this, or I am already doing this. So this particular commitment and trust is the most important thing. And definitely, unless otherwise the processes are assessed, unless otherwise the systems are oriented into the requirements, we will not be able to tell confidently that these systems are in place. And when we talk about the elements of corporate sustainability, definitely compliance. In terms of compliance, obviously social, and in this ESG has become and becoming a mandatory requirement in most of the organizations, especially focusing on listed companies. So environmental, social, and governance reporting is becoming a part of annual reporting process, which has been there, but the requirements are quite focused much now. So we talk about environmental, social, governance, and obviously other safety aspects, but this covers holistically. Financial compliance, you might have heard about a lot of financial risks involved, the issues, many mishaps which might have happened, and the risk management for the businesses, for the people, and for the assets and facilities. So those aspects, people and culture, definitely there is no just normal certification here, but without people, nothing works. So each and every business runs, the core is people and the culture. So when we talk about corporate sustainability, how the people are contributing, taking or understanding this. Yesterday, I saw in one of the social media platform an organization has conducted quiz on their own internal corporate policies, and somebody got award. So it's a good thing to note. So how many organizations are taking further steps to see those policies are ingrained, trickle down to the last employee. So these are many good practices. Quality and safety, in fact, this should have come in the topmost, because unless service, this is the two aspects which governed the past 2 years of our life: the quality and safety. Be it the usage of mask, be it social distancing, be it vaccinations, or what technology, quality and safety. And again, definitely my most favorite topics. I have been a quality professional for several years into Six Sigmas and the TQMs and all. The importance of this quality is being understood now, and this will definitely gain a long way. And whoever would like to focus much, want to have more further detailed discussions, I am definitely open how we can really achieve, say, something like zero defect, which has been a dream terminology for many companies, which definitely, if one company can do, one country can, others also do. And that is where Industry 4.0 kind of tools comes into picture. And communications and disclosures, the right communication at the right time, and what we are doing, what we are not doing. IT for all things, and space history and base are also there. So I will just highlight product already available. Will not be going in depth into that. Each and every topic to take minimum program and be able to do that also.
I think Dr. Karthik is facing some problem with the internet. So allow us a moment. Yes, I think Dr. Karthik is back. So just give us a moment and he should be back online with the sharing of the screen. Dr. Karthik, are you with us? You know, the technology can do this to us. It happens to all of us. So let's hold on for just
for a minor
few more seconds.
Interruptions. So I was talking about the specific.
Dr. Karthik, we are still not
able to and definitely courtesy to many industry frameworks which are already available. So these are all not my own inventions. So,
Dr. Karthik, we are still not able to hear you properly.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, but I think he's just dropped. So, Sonil, I would just like to have a minute of yours on this while Dr. Karthik was talking about this. Any views on what he has been talking? And you come from a very, the thought process with the industry. So do tell us about it. Yeah.
I totally agree with all the points what Dr. Karthik has highlighted in this complete session as of now. And one very interesting fact is the fact that what he mentioned is that Bangladesh, the way they have teamed up and they've kind of built up the model around this complete area, has been very actively working in this country for last many, many years. So the way the adoption has been in Bangladesh, it is very impeccable. I think it's just back online. Mr. Karthik, you're there.
Yeah, I'm back, and I hope technology would not let me down now.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, yeah, very, very quick overview on these products, the framework already available and which can be utilized in terms of assessing. The reason being, when we talk about this, as I said, I told about design for sustainability, but at the same time, if we don't measure what we want to improve, we will not be able to improve actually, right? What you can't measure, you cannot manage. You cannot manage the sustainability unless there is where we are and kind of thing. So that is where assessing comes into picture. The assessments is again evaluation or auditing, whatever we call it as. Then define where we want to go, design the process, how we want to go, implement the procedures, measure, are we there yet or continuous improvement is needed, then analyze continuously what kind of learnings, what kind of best practices are helping us, what are not helping us. So communicate it clearly to the stakeholders and move on. So that is how it works. And that is where some of the products and process certifications, say talking about GOTS, the Global Organic Textile Standards. The organic has become, and it's not has become, it was there and we spoiled it and now trying to become organic again, right? Do you agree? We were actually organic earlier. I mean, several, at least a century back or something. Our elders, if you look at, they were following organic methodologies and we spoiled it, right? So that is where organic textile standards are playing a major importance back in the consumer's mind, and this focuses on natural fibers, how the products are grown organically without usage of chemicals, which impacts either the land, water, and effluents, as well as the final consumers. It covers major aspects of social, environmental, and chemicals, integrity of organic content during the production, and the complete supply chain being assessed on this. So GOTS is one important aspect for the natural fibers. And another one is organic standards. So can we be 100% organic? Maybe yes, possible, but still, at least to begin with, I'm getting queries if for fabric, say, okay, I want organic, but I want 20% organic. I'm for 40% organic kind of stuff. At least something is there, right? So so that is one aspect, how we can declare or define percentage of organic content in a blended content. So already it is partially inorganic or partially regular stuff versus some portions. It can be 20% organic cotton, say 40% regular cotton and 20% organic cotton, or 80% organic cotton and regular cotton and 20% organic cotton, or 60-40, whatever combo, or it can be polyester blend or synthetic, any other synthetic blends. Okay, so that percentage is being again complete backward supply chain being audited and traced, how this can be assessed. And at the same time, global recycling standards. So when we talk about recycling standards, it largely is, it can be both natural and synthetic materials. So it's a voluntary standards, which is obviously designed by the brands, how much of recycled content they want to use. It can be many, many sportswear brands, basically they have gone into sportswear, I can say, as well as home textiles. They are using recycled PET bottles for making garments and home curtains, including curtains or blankets and mats and all those kind of stuff. So there 100% recycling is possible. Adidas has launched few years back a series called as Prime, where they use plastic waste recovered from ocean. So ocean waste is a completely separate topic, and Adidas, brands like Adidas and say Decathlon kind of companies, they have launched a series of the line of products completely used by ocean waste recycled material or general PET recycled material. I went to one home textiles manufacturing company in Ahmedabad, and they are into a high-end luxury product, but at the same time completely with recycled material. So for their blankets, pillow covers, cushion covers, the complete home textile products. So their minimum content of 20% of recycled material is considered as coming under GRS certification, but as much as possible is better. And similarly, in terms of GRS, the recycled claim standards at RCS 100. So how we can focus on the certification of recycled input. So can we use recycled energy? It's not only about the material material. So recycled energy, recycled accessories, where many chemicals and auxiliaries are also being recovered from the supply chain. So can we focus on those kind of areas, right? So these are all some of the areas definitely focusing on sustainability, and many measures like vegan certifications or HIG index and the sort of certifications are available. And largely these starts with voluntary declaration. Yes, I want to go into this direction, and this will help me move forward. There is nobody is forcing it, because again, these are all in one way, it adds cost to the business in the time being. But when we look at the bigger picture, long-term scenario, this will be giving much more beneficial. And these manufacturers are definitely getting a higher payback in terms of their unit value realization for their products being sold. Regular cotton versus organic cotton, regular synthetic or polyester versus a recycled polyester is actually costly in the current scenario. And the more and more we can scale it up, definitely it will be more affordable for people and definitely for the environment. And what are the processes involved? Almost everything. It can be for ginning, spinning, weaving or knitting, printing, dyeing, finishing, all the treatment processes, packing, labeling, and all other part of supply chain like trading and storage, manufacturing, import, exports. We can ensure sustainable practices. We can ensure recycled material. Like I was discussing with one of my friend based in Australia. He is focusing on packaging, how all the materials being used for packaging, be it carton boxes or wooden pallets or the ropes or the tapes, whatever, how it can be recycled. Like zero, it's not only, it's more like focusing on zero waste to landfill concept. And this zero waste to landfill is a very interesting area or topic where I would like to share some knowledge. What happened, I was in an organization where we did zero waste to landfill audit for one of the leading manufacturer of automobiles in India. And they declared, they wanted to declare they are, say, 98% adhered to zero waste to landfill. Zero means zero, but obviously 98 is still better, which is 2%. It still goes to zero waste or to the landfill. And when we did the audit, what happened was, yes, the final documentation or the final certifications could prove it was 98%. But what happened when we backtracked it, there was certain portions of the material, say batteries, were handed over to a particular vendor, and who said he is sending it to a recycling facility. And if you take a material, a product called as like automobile, say a car, you get all kind of get one or two components, right? In automobile, including textile, which are used for seat covers and panels and kind of singulation. Then you have metal, aluminum, glass, plastic.
I think we lost Dr. Karthik again for a moment. Dr. Karthik, can you hear us?
Hello.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Really sorry, there is a kind of unusual disturbance.
No worries. Tech glitches.
So apologies. So So I was talking about that audit scenario for the landfill point of view and certification point of view. When we backtrack each and every process, be it the foams and textiles and glass, the oils, the metal components, and various kind of metals. It can be the steel and copper, aluminiums, and all those kind of stuff, plus other materials, be it plastics and glass and everything. Finally, we could trace only up to 66%. So that senior management assumed it was 98 based on the documentation received. But when we go second vendor or the sub vendor, the third vendor, they all are working based on certification, and people down the line, they could not trace back the original impact. So that way, yes, certifications are important to declare, but auditing and ensuring that these are all happening is also extremely important, right? So don't rely only on certification, and that is where I say start with the design of the process. So how this, when we start, how it will end, like it's more like one of the key topics. Begin with the end in mind. So how it will actually can be recycled or upcycled, it can be reused, is extremely important when we start the process itself. Okay, so these are all the kind of aspects. And similarly, when we talk about each and every stage, I can say that it happens in textile also. In everything, we can discuss at length. And so, due to paucity of the time, I would like to move into other area which is focusing on social compliance. But I think this key four elements, which are all really making a difference, and there are measurable tools now. There are technology which has come into picture, like blockchain, which are being used in terms of traceability. So, as I said, when the materials are traced with the technology, where it is being sourced, be it organic, or when we talk about recycle, what exactly is happening. So all are traced through technology. There are process in place so that we get authentic information, and that is a key element of ESG. So this is about the product and process, and the benefits. Definitely huge benefits are there. The most important thing, risk mitigation in terms of reputation as well as the financials. So that is the most important aspect. Market you don't need to kind of do firefighting, which is one of the key components in, say, apparel industry. So people they probably call we are firefighters, not garment industry executives, right? Garment industry is known for firefighting. So we should actually come out of it. We need to keep bring systems and procedures in place so that we can do a lot more work creative and innovative rather than putting out the problems, right? And that is we are promoting creativity and innovation. And how do we develop different markets, sustainable market developments, and new products, new countries, new geographies, and environmental protection, which is extremely key. Enhance assurance on desired results. What we want to get can definitely comes up with how we are doing or designing the processes. How do we optimize the energy and the people towards common goal? And that is where you see all the successful companies, all the sustainable long-term players have one thing in common. They have always focused on their people, the values being transmitted across the country, across the organization, who does each and every systems and procedures in a very systematic manner that helps the overall sustainability of the business. And when it comes to social compliance, just a very quick touch base. Different markets, like you know, BSCI is one of the most common. So BSCI and SEDEX, which is being done by SMETA. So these two largely focuses. All these programs basically focuses on around 20 key elements, be it people, be it the working hours, the local labor law requirements, the financials, and ethical practices, sourcing, and everything. So these are all for different markets, like DSCA, SEDEX, and all largely focuses on Europe, and RAP definitely for US. SA 8000, it is common. It again largely in Europe, and ICS specifically focus on French market. So which are all the bases, which are all the markets, which are all the client base, which organizations are focusing on. And there are much more, few more are there. Again, I would like to state that in terms of how we want to progress. We can go specifically which are your markets, which are your clients. Definitely, some companies will focus on few markets. Some companies will have a balanced approach. Okay, I have 3 US clients and 3 US Europe clients, and like that. So those specific guidelines, company-oriented approach can also be provided, and how we can actually be compliant, how we can reach, how to reach that excellence in everything. As I said, it starts with design for compliance also. It's not only for sustainability, and compliance definitely is a major topic, because without a compliance certification, irrespective of what is the factory, very recently I saw one factory who had a particular certification, but when I look at the pictures of the factory, it was really horrible. So I could not believe that this particular factory is certified. But what is important is not only the meeting the checklist, but in reality, are we really sustainable? Are we really compliant? Are we following all the practices? Those are all important, and we will be able to guide on all these elements as well. And electrical safety, you might in the past decade, a lot of untoward incidents has happened. I don't want to name, but issues happened in terms of building collapse and fire safety issues, all largely starting with the electrical issues. So this is another one important aspect. So these are all key elements when we talk about health and safety and compliance and sustainability. And definitely this goes holistic. All these elements can be addressed with the Industry 4.0 tools, right? From R&D, raw material sourcing, components, manufacturing, transportation. So the entire supply chain can be improvised, can be other too, because now the rate of speed of change in terms of data or with respect to the supply chain processes, all are at the highest level of speed so far, and this is the slowest compared to the future. So we will be moving through much faster rate of change in terms of the frameworks. Definitely, we will need to adapt automations. We will need to adopt Industry 4.0 tools, which is the fourth industrial revolution. Definitely, in each and every aspect, right from designing of the manufacturing processes, sourcing processes, designing of materials, and everything. So will play a major role, and this will help us to be reaching that stage of excellence in everything we do. So with this, I would like to kind of have certain discussions, Q&As, if anyone have, and I would like to share my guru in terms of one of the things which everybody might have seen about the quote about the dream, but I would like to see this, which is very rare, not commonly available in the net. So thinking should become your capital asset, no matter whatever ups and downs you come across in life. Here, the point I would like to relate is the mindset change for manufacturers and anybody in the business, that compliance is costly. Compliance is time consuming. It is not adding value. Rather than that, how each and every tool can be used to enhance value. What is the USP? What is the UVP? How we can utilize those tools, that will make a huge difference. So that's the day and for discussions. Thank you very much. And really sorry for the technical glitches in between.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Karthik, for this very insightful session, I must say. You have covered a vast array of things which are required. Some of the things which at times we presume that it is going to be and it is not, and how things like detailed auditing and all that can help. It really opened quite a lot of eyes for me. Thank you so much for that. So Sonal, I would like to come on to you for a further discussion. And some of the questions I see that you keep receiving even on WhatsApp, these questions and all that. So what is your take on this session?
I would say it's been a fantastic session. The way Dr. Karthik has articulated the entire journey from being non-compliant to being compliant, and how companies can adopt to it. I have few questions for Dr. Karthik, and particularly since you have done a lot of business in Bangladesh, particularly. I wanted to re-emphasize on the fact, and you've been doing it for nearly about 18 years now. What I
Yeah,
remember.
of course. Yeah. Around yeah. Hello. Hello.
Yeah. So you had a little break in the in between.
Yeah.
So I was saying ki now when you compare two countries particularly, and I am particularly emphasizing the fact that when you look at two countries, India and Bangladesh, where do you see that there is a gap in terms of the quality certifications or the compliances being adopted between these two countries itself?
Actually, there is quite some disturbance here. If you can repeat the question, it would be really great.
Yeah, so my question is that since you work very closely in two countries, where do you see the gap between the two countries in terms of the adaptation of compliance? And if you could state some common reasons why people are failing to adopt to this compliance methods.
Okay, this is definitely one of the most important questions. I too keep receiving these important for us to address. The point here is it's one. If you say in a school or college grading system, it's always comparative analysis, right? So a relative performance. So what happened in India was actually much better positioned or placed in terms of compliance in general, and that is the reason it has grown in the past several decades. And Bangladesh had certain issues in terms of both building safety and environmental issues and all those kind of things. But with a very unfortunate incident, losing lots of lives, Bangladesh had learned that lesson. So losing thousands of lives in the year 2014, Bangladesh has geared up so much, and again, obviously, brands jumped in both in terms of the demands as well as the supporting hands also. And Bangladesh got into that phase of alliance and accord for US and European brands, all joining hands together. And most of the companies or factories now in Bangladesh are alliance or accord certified. They have gone through so much of requirements. Earlier, buildings were used in say shared buildings, not custom made for apparel industry. So now things have changed. So many companies have moved into a proper, well-designed, well-compliant premises for apparel manufacturing, textile manufacturing, and it came at a huge cost. Not only those people, but obviously financials people. Many companies had shut down in that period of 2014 to 18 and 19. 5 years have been so difficult, but they have now surpassed those basic minimum requirements, and they have almost reached excellence. And in addition to that, many of the companies are now LEED certified, and they are at a level of platinum and gold LEED certified, focusing on environment. And still, yes, if you see, in the past 2 years, I could not travel much to Bangladesh due to travel restrictions, and there were obviously not business impact was there both in India and Bangladesh. But now Bangladesh is getting that benefit than India because of those good certified companies, environmentally focused companies. And believe me, many of the companies, many in the sense almost 70 to 80% of factories in Bangladesh are booked for the entire year of 2022. There is no capacity now. So that is the impact which is happening compared to India. I am from India. I try to. I also I am also associated in sourcing and other kind of stuff for sportswear products, my own products. I am unable to get it produced in Bangladesh due to no capacity. So we need to go for new factories. So we are investing and making new factories in Bangladesh to expand capacity. Whereas in India, there is definitely capacity are still available, but we are unable to place orders due to all other different challenges, be it process, people, there's certain kind of uncertainties. So brands still prefer Bangladesh. So it's time gear up in terms of not only compliance, sustainability, environmental factories, lead certification kind of programs, joining hands together, how it can be leveraged, the synergies can be leveraged to take up better orders. So both countries are in competitive scenario. At the same time, they can work together, and that is where synergies like Bangladesh is good in garments and India good in fabrics, yarns, kind of thing. So they can work together as a supply chain partner. So it's a very good question. Thank you.
Mr. Karthik, if you were to see the fact that there is a lot of room that has opened up for fashion and textiles, a room which was primarily a forte of China in terms of innovation, in terms of quality, that room with the sudden shift in the policy and the environment in the last 2 years has now suddenly been opened up to countries, especially in Indian subcontinent. That includes India, Bangladesh, China, India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Pakistan. So apart from this, we also have Vietnam. So now, if you were to, if you were to look at 5 years journey, the next 5 years that are going to be shaping up, how do you, what kind of measures you propose to the people in this subcontinent that they should start adopting, whether it is from a low fact or from the last fact, what kind of measures they should start adopting quickly?
Okay, this is again a extensive kind of question, because advising or guiding on what they should do is not going to be easy. But at the same time, I would like at least 3 P's, which is one product. So what is the difference? Why we are getting the benefit is China, due to various reasons, either their own policy or international pressure and all those kind of things. China's spillover effect is largely coming to South Asia. Brands tried Southeast Asian countries, including Cambodia, are again coming back to South Asia. So what is the difference? If you are going to offer the same product what we were offering in India and Bangladesh for the past 3 decades, and if you are unable to offer what China offered, either at a low cost or competitive cost, I don't want to call it as low cost, a competitive cost, or innovative product, a new material, new finish, new fashion, or whatever it is, if we are unable to offer that USP, I was talking to one of my manufacturer friend. There was an he was like both happy and unhappy. Yes, happy. There could be possibility that we might get better business, but unhappy that existing business I am unable to handle. So how I am going to handle additional business? He means not only he as a person, the entire region. I'm talking about the manufacturer in Tirupur. So existing business, they are struggling how to handle. So one, unless otherwise we are able to offer that kind of value and innovation in the product, and that comes with the designing, and that is where I should appreciate Sotex to join hands with Tukatek and offering those designing solutions, right? That I can say is helping to design new products and offer new collections, new range with their own creativity, rather than depending upon buyers tech pack and replicate what they are telling to do, right? So this is one thing which focus on product innovations, new product development. Second one is the process. Why they are able to focus or offer this is again the process by which we can give innovations and creativity. So how we can improve the process, mainly focusing on lead time. Many of the manufacturers in India are unable to commit lead time. We don't know when can you supply this. Give me some time. Give me few days, right? So processes improvement is important, and again people, how we can improve the efficiency. That comes with training. That comes with hand holding and coaching. So how we can really we drive each and every day, the focus and follow-ups are not there, the team members don't deliver. So that comes with engagement, that comes with the ownership and responsibility, accountability. So these kind of values needs to be inbuilt and developed. So these 3 P's, at least in this 1 minute or so, I would like to emphasize: the product, process, and people.
Apart from this, I don't see there are many questions coming in from the people in the room. So I'm just putting on some questions to you. One important question which is there as part of the quality is...
I think actually I got some messages. Many of them are in listening, cannot talk or something. I don't know. At least 4-5 people have messaged me. We are in webinar, but we cannot ask questions.
Why not?
Right, but at least you will be the voice of the participants, so it's good.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be the voice of the participants. And I encourage all the members. Yes, I think somebody did try to raising their hand also. So in case if you have questions, please take the opportunity of asking it directly from Mr. Dr. Karthik. He's a senior expert himself in this domain for almost 20 years now. Mr. Karthik, one important question, which again from the industry point I want to check is, in terms of the cost implication and cost to an ROI benefit, one area, the moment we talk about compliance and the certification, the one thing that comes into the mind for a business owner is the cost.
Yeah.
Now, if you were to take cost as the major area, and then the returns that we can get, can you elaborate what is, because you mentioned so many certifications and some of the certifications are of very high price. I think they range anything between $20 to $10 to $30,000. So how do you compare, and why should a person invest into these kind of certifications?
This is a good question, and as I said, I did not go into the numbers for today's session, but at the same time, what I would like to simply say, a cost of a seatbelt and airbag versus cost of an accident. Right? So these certifications are like seatbelts and airbags, or these certifications are like masks and hand sanitizers, versus when we get affected, then the costs are going to be huge. As long as we are not affected, as long as we are still on track, still it is okay. Right? There could be certain audit programs costing around $4,000 to $5,000 as well. I have gone through those aspects, but these are all to keep check and balance in the effective and efficient operation of the business. And yes, some are recurring costs every year. Re-audits needs to be there. But what is the volume of the business they are handling? And again, last month, one best example. One of my friend who is having a small factory, not audited, no certification. He is supplying to domestic market. He got a query from a buyer from Australia, and he did not have certification, so he could not get the order. So if he had spent that $2,000, for example, definitely he would have got order, and in the longer run, it would have been much more benefit. And currently I don't have the kind of say the order value, what was the FOB values and the volumes and all, but it was good, and actually he was regretting I did not have audit. Similarly, another one factory, last week example, certification is there, expired, not renewed on time, they did not get order. So these kind of things practically I have seen, and that is where bringing financials is a bit difficult, because each and every company size, when we talk about audit cost, is going to be same. It obviously depends on the manpower, how many people are there, but the benefits are going to be multifold. It's not going to be just 2 times, 3 times. It can be 10 to 20 times, or ROIs are going to be much higher. So depending upon case-to-case scenario, what's the size of the business, what kind of audit, how it is actually helping, I'm willing to do certain case studies and go specifically on these aspects also. Or we can discuss those manufacturers who would be interested to really see, I want to get audited, I want to see the value of audit, how it will help. We can definitely work on it. And I think my contact details are there, which can be shared. and we can take offline discussions in detail, and I'm willing to help.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that complete journey. And in the interest of the time, I would like to advise all the members who are still in the room, please share your questions. Or in case if you want to reach out to Dr. Karthik, please share your contact details. Team Sotex will share with you the feedback form about the session as to what you felt about it, what is that you would like to know more about it. Again, as I said, the cost being one of the main barriers, and that's been one of the psychological reasons why people avoid, investing their time and energy into compliance areas. But I, as a manufacturer in my own journey, I have realized that the moment you take this cost, it is just an investment that once put in will give you benefits in the long run. It is not something where you invest in a certificate, you get the order next day. It does not work like that. But having a certificate or having a compliance with your factory is just a well articulated vaccination certificate that you have. And once the vaccination certificate is there, your all we have gone through COVID, so we understand that the importance of this certificate. So once that certificate is there, we are able to take a lot of things. We are able to work around. We can move around across the world with that one single certificate. So that gives you a passport to travel. Not that you're going to have a travel next day after the certificate. So it is very well articulated. So thank you once again for sharing that wonderful information, Dr. Karthik. And
My pleasure.
before we just, take on, if there are any questions, we can take it on. But if there are no questions, I would like to take an opportunity to just share a quick video of the event that we had in Bangalore last weekend.
I would love to see that. Yes, thank you.
Gagan, is it visible?
Yes, it is.
So welcome everyone to today's Midweek concert, first of its kind, and
never in the history of mankind we have had such global challenges that we are having the last 2 years. The bright side of that is we have learned how to work differently, think differently. Don't let that momentum die. Even when the COVID is over, it will be.
And cheaper. That's the good part of technology. It gets cheaper as it gets along. So here there is a challenge, which is a big challenge for A, the supply chain and the manufacturing industry, and B, there is an availability of fantastic technology which can help you overcome the challenge instantly. I mean, you don't have to wait for a few.
So they will prefer 20% more or 15% more, but more wastage.
So we had an excellent session on the last weekend on Friday and Saturday in Bangalore. It's a beautiful location. 5 mills participated, 2 tech companies participated, and was visited by nearly 48 plus companies, including some of the heavyweights like Nike, Flipkart, Amazon, Reliance. Senior leaders from the Reliance came in, C&A, and many more buyers and exporters visited that event. So we had a mark of an excellent coverage over there. So overall, the idea and the theme of the entire event was how fabric to fashion journey is further being transferred using digital technologies. So there is a lot of transformation happening in the textile and the fashion industry. And that's what we were trying to bring out from this event. The upcoming event is on this Saturday, which is on the 19th in Holiday Inn Hotel in Delhi, which is adjoining to Noida, which is at the Mayur Vihar. So we would love to have people from the room come and visit us. It's open to all the garment manufacturers, fashion manufacturers, mills, buyers. Come and experience how the journey can transfer it. We also have a live session from Dr. N.D. Karthik right in that session itself. Dr. Karthik is traveling to India tomorrow from Bangladesh. He's landing in Chennai, followed by Delhi. So he's coming and attending this event specially, and he's going to have a live demo for live conversations with him in that session, and we are excited about it. Gagan, what do you have to say?
Thank you, Mr. Sonal.
Absolutely. So I really love the session, as I said. Thank you so much, Dr. Karthik, for this session. Wonderful session. And I certainly am looking forward to see you in person on Saturday and to hear you speak again at the session at the Mill Meet. So thank you so much. A very enlightening session for me, as I can see that some of the people who have messaged on the chat box, a very, very interesting session for them indeed. I'm also getting messages on our Facebook page because this event is live on Facebook, our Facebook community as well. So there also we've received the messages, and a couple of questions also have come in. Sonal, those questions can be sent to Dr. Karthik later, and then we can, probably connect people with Dr. Karthik there. So thank you so much, Dr. Karthik, for taking our time to think about it, to understand. Of course, you are a veteran in the industry, so to understand what some of the challenges, what our community faces, and to answering those, I certainly feel that many of those questions have been answered. And I would say it's a kind of a light bulb for a lot of them that, something needs to be done, and you just cannot rest just like that and just thinking that I'm going to get some good business opportunities. You have to act towards it. You have to invest in it. And it's only when you show that intent and investment that the business in the long term comes back to you. In turn, looking at the overall global goals on sustainability and still in line with that, which everybody wants to get aligned to. So thank you so much for that. And I would like to thank each and every one of you who have spent so much of time on our session today. I hope you found value at the session. There is a link in the chat box which says give your review or a feedback. Please click on it so you can give us a review. Along with that, if you want to connect with Dr. Karthik, he has already shared his details. You can connect with us and we'll be happy to connect you to Dr. Karthik in case you feel that he can help you in some way, right? With this, I would like to call it a day on this particular session, but we never ever, as I said, far from another session. As we said, we are looking forward to our next session on this Saturday, which is a physical session. But apart from that, next Wednesday, we are doing a buyer-seller meet with Vietnam. So there will be buyers from Vietnam, the RMGs from Vietnam, and a lot of supply chain from India who will be meeting them in a one-to-one sessions with these people, right? Okay, there's a gentleman called Nitin Duggal who has requested to connect with Dr. Karthik. So may I request Priya and our team to please take a note of this. Mr. Duggal wants to connect with Dr. Karthik. So we will definitely make sure, Mr. Duggal, to help you connect. All right, with this, thank you so much, everyone. And we will see you very, very soon on our next session. Thank you all. Thank you, Sonal, and thank you, Dr. Karthik.
Thanks a lot, Gagan. Thanks a lot, Sonal.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.